So now moving to the capital project performance report. So Ruth, if I could invite you to the table for this one, please. And again, if you'd like to provide any opening remarks or matters that you'd like to raise, and then we'll move to questions.
Good morning. Sorry, I just feel awfully low. That's all right. I'll sort it out. No, I don't like it. I'm just going to change. Alrighty. I'm sorted now. Comfortable. Thanks. All right. So this is the capital report to the 20th of September. I did want to call out just a couple of changes to the report content this month. So it's not removals, it is additions. There are summary highlights this month on the cover sheet. In terms of the content of the report, under the monthly forecast graph, which you'll find on page 40, there is now commentary under that for all months that are delivering more than 35 per month. Reason for that is that our average spend last year was 32, so we just want to provide you with a little bit of assurance and confidence around what we are currently projecting to spend in those months this year. In the last committee, we talked about how we deliver the 400 million capital envelope and what we do at portfolio level when projects are delayed and to forecasting a carry forward. So where we can, we are still with delivery units, identifying projects in the plan that we can accelerate, and those projects are forecasting a bring back. So in light of this, on page 44, and 45, there is now commentary that provides visibility for you of projects in the pipeline at portfolio level where we have a net carry forward or bring back of greater than 5 million. So what that information is there to show you is essentially the key projects that are delivering at a different pace from what was originally budgeted in that financial year 21 plan. So what you have today as well in the financial performance report, which is later in today's agenda, is all of the details of the projects in this year's plan and their current forecast carry forward or bring back. So all the detail is in that report later on. So current financial year, we've got a budget of 513 and we're forecasting a 577, so still a bring back at present. Against the 400 core program, we're forecasting 481. There's comments in relation to deliverability at each portfolio on page 38 and 39. So you will note in the graphic on page 38 that the predicted total spend this financial year is hovering around 380. So that's a little bit different from what the project managers are forecasting with the 481. So that particular prediction is based on previous performance trends, and it's also based on rate of spend and forecast accuracy to date. So I just wanted to call out just a couple of things around deliverability of the program and where we're currently sitting on that at the moment. So we've got 367 million forecast for projects in procurement, construction and closure phases. 303 projects in construction, forecasting 318. So this is a really good position because at the same time last year we had 250 projects in construction forecasting 243 million. So we are in a better position than we were last year to deliver. We've got another 29 million forecast for projects in procurement, and then projects in handover and closure where we have absolutely no delivery risk whatsoever. We've just got 20 million forecast in those kind of final activities. So that puts us in a situation of delivering 367 alone in just those projects. So a couple of specific things I want to call out is the projects that we're forecasting to complete this year. So the ones where we're going to have the majority of spend. We've got 200 projects in that situation. As you know, there are unforeseen delays that we can experience on these projects. So PMO has been working with project delivery to get kind of confidence in delivery against those dates. And with high confidence, Transport are in a position to deliver 76 million. And for Three Waters, we've got 44 million there. So that's a delivery of our 30% of our total budget this financial year alone. In terms of forecast accuracy to the 30th of September, so we've had 3 months of work now, the average accuracy of forecasts from our project managers is sitting at about 80%, which is pretty good, given the uncertainties of construction in a volatile and uncertain environment. So projecting that across the financial year, that forecast accuracy would give us a spend of about 375 million against the 400 million. So COVID claims negotiations are ongoing. We've had another 8 that have been resolved since previously reported. It may take a little bit of time just to wind up those last few. OAG, the Officer of the Auditor General, has advised that not all costs relating to COVID are capitalisable. They have provided guidance on that, and we're working through that at present, but we don't know exactly what that looks like. Our methodology needs to be reviewed and approved by OAG.
Great, thank you. So forecasting 375 against 400, that would indicate that we're projecting a carry forward at the end of the year of 25 at this stage?
Yeah, so that 375 was just based on forecast accuracy to date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the carry forward at end of year at this stage is forecast to be 25. Realising that would change. That's a particular area of focus because obviously it relates to deliverability of the capital programme in the first year of the LTP, and that's a figure that I think we'll be very keen to keep an eye on.
Yep.
So thank you for that. And I just had one further question. It relates to the transport and NZTA subsidy. And there's a bit of history in this space. I mean, we've certainly seen risk play out around NZTA subsidy in the past. I guess transport staff might tell us that this is always a risk, but I'm just keen to tease out whether there's anything going on here that that represents a greater risk that we should know about.
Mr. Chair, no, I don't think there's any greater risk than there has been in previous years. It is always a risk. And there's two issues there that we need to be mindful of. One is the eligibility of projects. So we have a certain number of projects that are eligible for funding. However, that doesn't mean they will receive funding because the funding pot is limited. So you might have a number of projects which, you know, tick all the boxes, but if there's no money in that activity class left over, or it's oversubscribed, then we might miss out. So look, I don't think it's a greater risk than any other years, and we're comfortable with the relationship we have with the NZTA at the moment. We work closely with them to minimise that risk, but we'll certainly keep you apprised of anything that changes.
Indeed. Thank you. All right, any further questions? Aaron.
Yeah, just on the COVID claims, are they offset against, because a few people in public raised this, like how they can even be made, but are they offset against the wage subsidy? Because it was in the media earlier this week that one company that got quite a large wage subsidy, as in tens of millions, also made a $300 million profit this year. So are those wage subsidies factored into their claims, or are they getting to double dip?
Yeah, I don't know the detail, it's not my area, but I do understand that we review all of the claims based on not including the wage subsidy, so that's factored into the final claim. So our engineers reps engineer to the contract, review it based on that.
Right, so, okay. So
I'm not an expert. Does anybody else?
There you go.
Kylie. Yes. Come over here.
Sorry, yes.
Thank you.
Morning all. In answer to a question, yes, we look at the wage subsidy, and if their hourly rate for a labourer was, say, $50 an hour, with the subsidy it drops to 30, we would expect to pay the 30 and not give them a free hit of whatever it may be, $20 an hour. So yes, it's included in the calculation.
Right, so, but those companies take, because the council's taken quite a large hit from COVID, those companies don't take any in the end. We just pick up the in-between, government throws in the other bit, they're all good.
It's a case
End of year
by case.
profits can still be massive, doesn't matter.
It's a case by case decision by the engineer's rep, and that's subject to contract law. Most of our contracts are 3910, so we must abide by those contracts. However, we do make sure they're not double dipping on the subsidy and what legitimate costs they're claiming from us.
Okay, brilliant. And then one other question, if I may, completely different. Ruth, I heard the other day that the downstream effects from the Northern Arterial might be over budget. Is that correct? I'm just asking because I've got to follow up.
So there's a memo that should have gone out to you, hopefully, as of yesterday. So I probably need to just delve back briefly into the history of downstream effects. So when the Christchurch Northern Corridor was going through its Resource Management Act approvals, and it was a designation process plus resource consents, one of the big questions was around how they addressed the downstream effects. And there were various designation conditions that were put in there requiring council to independently prepare a downstream effects management plan, and you'd all be familiar with the DEMP acronym. So at that stage we had no idea what we were required to build, and that was something that we needed to put some ideas out to the community on, consult with, go through a council approval process. So, but the budgets for downstream effects were put into the LTP in 2014. So normally when we put budgets into the LTP, we obviously base them on a pro rata type cost associated with a renewal or a concept design or something like this. This is a very unusual situation when we had to put budget in several years ago without knowing what we were going to build. So we went through 3 rounds of consultation and 3 rounds of council approvals, with the final one being in September last year. And with the opening date of the Christchurch Northern Corridor supposedly going to be in the middle of this year, the obligation through the designation condition was for us to have finished the downstream effects by the time that was open. So we were essentially placed in a position whereby we had to kind of detail design as we were building it. And what the council approved to build did come up more than those 2014 ballpark figures. So yes, technically you could say that it's more than what we originally put in there, but that was not based on any concept design or any estimate, because at that stage we didn't know what we were going to build.
Right. Okay, so my only question around it would be, and it's a nice bit of road now, boy oh boy, you drive down Cranford Street and that's smooth. But when that was going in, it went in several layers of asphalt. It looks ballpark about 400 deep, and they probably put it in 6 times, so just keep layering it up because you can't go that deep straight away. That seems very unusual. I've never seen that done in Christchurch anywhere. That's got to be horrendously expensive. Look,
I can't speak to the depth they put in the asphalt on. All I know that...
Is that not our spec, though?
Yes, it is our spec, but I'm not familiar with that sort of detail myself.
Right.
We wouldn't have done anything that was over and above what we needed to do.
Right.
So, with the amount of vehicles that road is forecast to carry per day, it needs to be done to a reasonable standard, and that's what we would have built it to. So I doubt it was unusual in that sense. So will we do other main routes around the city in that same style going forward? Because I've never seen it done before. If it was deep lift asphalt, where we went in and did that, we've certainly done that on Memorial.
Right.
On Montreal, when we did that a few years ago. And we did that
in one layer, because they did it on the weekends. You did block by block, which was fantastic. But
yep,
that's one layer. This is several.
There's probably a level of detail that we're getting into here that Richard, in fact, has already told us that he doesn't have the answers to.
Okay. If we could find out, would be good. I mean, shouldn't we have an oversight on these? Like if we're, I don't know why. Like I don't know why we did it.
Yeah.
And
let's get an answer offline to these very specific questions.
Thank you.
Let's do that. All right. I've got Jimmy and then Phil.
Thank you, Chair. 2 questions. The first one regarding on page 10, the major cycle route, the section High to Jones. I'm not sure because since August you start present to the Finance and Performance Committee meeting is always, this kind of section 1A is temperate to Gilbertsource, 1B is Gilbertsource to the Race Course Road Reserve. So if 1 should be the temperate to the kind of Race Course Reserve, but here is a high just between them, And also I'm concerned your budget, if you carry forward $2.4 million, but my understanding based on your before your previous schedule, this section will be completed in June of 2021. So whether you have those carry forward, this budget, whether can meet the needs, this is my particular concern. And also the water law, community, school, all residents, all aware, this quite serious, this kind of the school kids, pedestrian crossing. So this budget, what's criteria, you have this forward. My view should be bring forward rather than carry forward. Yeah.
Sorry, could you refer me to, what was that, page 12 of the...
No, not page 12, page 10.
Page 10.
It's
Page
page
10,
46
the
in the
first
pack.
46.
It's page 46 in the pack.
Yeah. There's a section on high to Jonesville.
So this is the Norwest Arc
Jones.
annex to... No, sorry.
Not annex.
Oh, this
not
one,
annex.
yeah.
From Templeton, please, from Templeton to the Race Course Road Reserve. This is section 1. Yeah,
South
particularly
Express,
in the
yep.
Hornby High, that section, petition crossing for school kids crossing synchronized. Staff told me that will be the, contract written in January next year, 2021. So here, how can meet those needs, this budget?
Look, I don't know the details of that. Can I come back to the committee and provide you with some details around what's been proposed for the South Express?
Absolutely, yeah.
Phone a friend. No.
Yeah, no, that's all right. And I mean, again, if that needs to be circulated as an answer outside of the meeting, as long as we get the answer. I mean, I appreciate that some of these very specific questions aren't always able to be answered in this meeting. As long as the information's provided and circulated to everybody, then that's sufficient.
We do provide those updates on all these projects in the Transport bi-monthly.
Yeah.
And we'll probably provide an update on that. However, I can't recall exactly what it said with that particular section of that cycleway.
Yeah, no, that's fine. If we can get the information circulated, that'll be fine. Or pointers to where it exists in one of those other reports that you're referring to.
Can do.
Mike's last committee meeting in the transport report.
Indeed, yeah. All right, thank you, Richard.
Sorry, second
question. Yeah.
A second one, since the August, you always present those watch list, the program list, and one of the item Horseway Junction Road extension. But this month I didn't see. What's the reason there? Last month, months before, you always bring to the Finance Committee program watch list.
It is on the watch list, and
Where about?
It's on page 55.
55.
Hallswell Junction Road extension, execute design. Yep, it's there on the list.
Okay, sorry, I missed out. Sorry.
All right, no problem. Thank you. Phil.
Okay.
Hey, Richard, thank you. That Heathcote Expressway, Section 2, can you give me a rough idea of the extra? It says it's going to be going to exceed the budget, just with contaminated material, roading design and Kiwi Rail stuff. Just give me a rough idea of what that figure will be, if possible.
So we've done further site investigations and through the detailed design process, and certainly what we've highlighted is approximately a 1.6 million increase in potential costs due to those factors you've just spoken to: contaminated material, roading design and consenting requirements, and Kiwi Rail. However, we do have a contingency in there because part of the agreement with the Crown around shovel ready was that we keep contingencies from our own budget, and that contingency is greater than the forecast increase. So at this stage, we're still okay, but all we're trying to do through this process is keep you up to date with the issues that we're finding as we progress the designs of all these projects. So.
Thank you.
You'll find the detail of cost and time in the external funded attachment as well.
Thank you. Are there any further questions? Yanni.
Thanks. I just had several questions. One, I just wanted to check with the Chilham Street brick barrel renewal. confidence we have in regards to it being completed by February 2021. I just know that we do have budget and time is Amber. For the budget, yes, the budget is great. So just wanted to check in terms of February 21.
Yeah, so certainly the budget's looking good. We've got, as of last Friday, 66 metres of that big main left to lay. And if you go down there, you see we've almost finished the sheet piling. That should be done this week. So that, touch wood, will mean the end of the high risk stuff by the end of November, which can delay us and really cause problems. So cost-wise, we're coming out the woods now and looking in a healthy position. Timing, we're hoping to get that big main done by Christmas, and then in the new year we can move into rebuilding that road because it's a bit of a shocker at the moment. Obviously weather's going to be our big risk around the roading works. If we get a wet spring, we're a little bit stuck.
Sorry, just in terms of a really stupid question, but when we do the big thing under the road and we get that complete, will that mean that we'll be able to remove a lot of the traffic
stuff
management measures so that people won't be as disrupted?
We can start contracting right in. Obviously whilst they're doing the road sealing, there'll be shuffling lanes around for graders, that sort of thing, but yeah, after Christmas we expect to see it shrink right down. We've still got the remaining few months up until the end of February to wrap up the stuff at the residential end of Tuam Street,
right? Okay.
Which is away from the businesses, and the businesses is our focus to get them tidied up.
Okay, cool, thanks. The other question I had was in regards to on page 57, the Metro Sport facility, a time is flagged as red, and it says delays are due to slower progress than current construction program and COVID-19. I put the COVID-19 thing to one side, but I'm really interested in what other things are leading to the slower progress in terms of construction, and just wanted to know if there's any issues identified with the land.
Yeah, there's no further information coming out of Otakaro. The delay on program is ultimately caused by COVID-19 delays, but there are no issues regarding land that haven't already been remediated or mitigated.
So the building, the progress, slow building progress is purely because of COVID-19, not because of
as far as we're aware at the moment, yes. We're still, Otakaro and CPB are still working through their issues, and we still haven't got the last PCG meeting that Mark Noonan attended. There wasn't a resolution on the current claim, so that's still in play at the moment.
So when do we have a kind of I mean, we don't have any idea when it will be complete now. When are we likely to be in a position to understand when it's going to be complete?
It's October 22 at the moment. It's just been expanded to November 22 at the moment, so that's the latest.
So November 22?
November 22, yeah.
Right. And significant change likely to that when we have more information from Otakaro?
I couldn't tell you that at the moment. We'll wait until the next PCG and we get the information that comes from the PCG, so through Otakaro. And Otakaro report to this as well, this group as well. So.
Right. Okay.
We only report the latest information we have. So.
Yeah, okay. Just the final question from me is on page 59. And I just note that we've got the Crown Acceleration Fund 40 million. We've got a number of areas that have been highlighted. The current phase is investigate. The time status is showing green, but the current forecast delivery date is all TBC. And I'm just trying to get a sense of when some of that money is going to be spent and some of those projects done.
So we baseline delivery dates after plan, so that's after we've looked at the options analysis and decided what way we're going to go. So at the moment there's no baseline date, so the flag doesn't change to amber or red yet until we've actually baselined. That's what we measure performance against. In terms of the progress on the specific projects, that's probably for Richard or...
Can I just check, who sets the baseline date? Like, is that the investment case, the business case? Is it report to council? Like, where do we set the actual baseline? How do we set the baseline?
Once the baseline's been confirmed, it will be in this report. No, it's probably Richard. It's Craft. It's
It's the acceleration fund.
Yeah.
Sort of feel embarrassed asking this again, but I mean, I think we should get some sense of timeframes on it.
So that's the 5 geographical areas of the city that we're looking to upgrade the quality of the transport asset. So as you'll be aware, we did some work on that a couple of years ago. That formed the basis for the business case, which the Council and Crown then endorsed and approved. And now what we're doing is sense testing that. So we've sent people back out into the field because some of that work would have been picked up as part of our normal day-to-day maintenance. So it may not need to be done, or the condition of it may have worsened. So we've been around all the boards, we've briefed all the boards, we've also asked the boards for feedback as to whether there's some stuff that they think we may have missed or things they should be included in there. Now that we've got that information, we will then come back and say this is what we think, that will be early in the new year, about what needs to be done, and just make sure that the boards and council are comfortable with that, with a view to then spending some of that money later on this financial year. But the business case that was approved anticipated a date of spending the craft money by mid-2023. So we're comfortable, as I've said before, that we can do that. And I think it's a good process that we're running through at the moment, making sure we've got all the boards involved because it really affects their local turf.
Opportunity for the boards to put things forward as quick wins, and like Woolston, Oak Street, Heathcote Street, which are on that list, we've got contractors working on the main road and the side streets. What's the process for that? Just the board to put a memo through, or?
Well, we've already been out to you and chatted with you, and we spoke to you about sending information back to us.
Yep.
But if there's things that you still want us to do, just send it through to myself and okay, I'll put it into the list.
Yep, great.
All right, thank you. Any further questions? So, Sam, you're happy to move this. Do I have a seconder? Aaron? All those, no discussion? All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against? That's carried. Thank you very much indeed.